You're listening to The Talent Sync, a collaborative podcast production about anything and everything recruiting and hiring. Literally the kitchen sink on how all things in talent acquisition work together, should work together, and how sometimes they don't. Now it's time to sync up with your hosts, Leah Daniels and Kevin Grossman. Today's topic makes the point to stop anthropomorphizing AI. Leah, so great to see you. How are you doing? We're in the second half of the year now. Second half of the year.
It's getting dark, and I have to say I would like to formally lodge a complaint against the summer
Please
solstice being
do.
in
Please do.
June. Can we not have it in June? The summer solstice belongs right about maybe like late August, right? That's
Sure.
when it should happen.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
don't know who I have to talk to about this, but I
But you
don't like the
don't
days getting.
but you don't have your school for your kids, you don't go back to school yet, right? Because
No,
ours go back to school tomorrow. At the time of this recording at least, so early August. We're going back to school now.
no.
But that was something that was negotiated a long time ago, and we get out early. We get out before the end of May. But anyway, we're getting ready to go, and it's just like the old Staples commercials of old. It's the most wonderful time of the year when the kids go back to school. Yes. You know what? So we're gonna talk about, I know a lot of related things today, but I keep the ChatGPT that I use regularly as a productivity tool, a research tool, efficiency tool, not to write wholesale for me, just for all those keeping score at home. I write my own stuff, but it keeps trying to prompt me to use its new agent,
Yes,
right? So as an agent, here, use this, and I haven't done it yet. I've been really resistant to it, and I think part of it is because in that we keep anthropomorphizing AI. And I think a lot of this is driven by the AI tech companies themselves, but whatever the case is, whether it's a chat bot, whether it's the big four, seven, doesn't matter. We keep humanizing it. It is not human at all. So that is really the big reason. I know it doesn't make any sense. Like I could use it as a tool, the agent itself, but I'm
yep.
resistant to it because of that. It's not a thing, right?
I will.
It's not a being.
I will say ChatGPT has decided not to give it a name, and I do appreciate
I
that.
know. I noticed that too.
I do, to the point where I notice it now everywhere. If I'm dealing with an I actually note, is it identifying itself as an AI or an agentic, or is it identifying itself as some sort of humanized entity that I'm supposed to be friends with?
Correct.
I am increasingly personally resistant to the ones that are pretending to be people. I don't, I, and I'm noting this about myself that I don't want to talk to an AI agentic named Molly or Ava or whatever
No,
they might name it. I don't want
no,
that. Just be an agentic and be what you are and be a tool like every other tool I use, right? I use a HubSpot that doesn't have a name. It's just HubSpot,
no,
right?
it
Like
doesn't.
just let it
No.
be Zoom. Doesn't have a name.
We're using a new tool now, which is kind of what Zoom does already as well, called Gong. I don't know if you heard of Gong
Yep.
before. It's a
Yep.
pretty cool tool, but again, it's not Sarah or Bill and even though we'll get into why most of them are women's names later,
Yeah.
but that's why I'm resistant to that. But to bring it back to the larger picture of the fear mongering that's going around of why that you're going to lose your job because AI is going to take it. Like it's this amorphous thing that is going to the AI blob that's going to creep into organizations today and absorb all the people and but we are seeing more layoffs though, right? We're seeing
Sure.
at the same time that these large tech organizations like Microsoft, et cetera, have
Yes.
record profits. And Microsoft, what was it? Just a month ago, right? 15,000 they laid
Yep.
off. Um, but AI is not, it is not going to replace you. You may be downsized for a
Yes.
variety of different reasons. And right now, because of what's going on with, you know, the terror, the US tariffs that continue to cause inordinate angst with businesses across industries right now of being able to plan better.
Right.
Um, Headcount will be reduced. Hiring has slowed. If it wasn't for healthcare right now, and maybe AI hiring in tech, which is still minuscule, right? Well, I mean, it is, but so there's a lot of changes that are happening, but AI is not going to take the job though, right? Or it's
I
not.
think I
Go
think
ahead.
this is, you know, I think we've just put a new name on a thing that happens every decade or so anyway. Right? We continually see innovation
Yep.
and the whole market steps forward as part of innovation. Right? Computers, right? The desktop computer was a massive innovation that changed how people work, how work gets
Yep.
done, the efficiency level. Imagine like how long it would take to do something when you had to call, talk to somebody to set up an appointment, call them back, blah, 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 or send a snail mail or a fax, right? The world changes every decade or
Yep.
so, and that is normal. And efficiency comes out of that. But this is the first time I think the way we talk about this efficiency has been a name that has become part of your workforce, right? Nobody named my laptop when I first got one and said, "This is your laptop, George." And George is going to do your work for you. So you won't have a job anymore. Like nobody said that. Like that's craziness. And so this is an interesting marketing like twist where we've now given these agentics a name in a way we've not seen before. And we've now used it to fearmonger the market because that's what's happening right now. There is a person who I will not say their name who has a podcast and webinar series for candidates on how to get past the AI that's rejecting your resume in 3.5 seconds when you apply. You know, this particular fear that we
Uh-huh.
have infiltrated the entire market with. And I see this ad all the time and think to myself, these poor people who don't know the market, don't understand, they think that what they're being fed here is true. And this particular person is profiting off of selling this fear, right? Because they're not going to fix their resume to get through the AI that doesn't exist.
Well, that's the whole thing, and you and I have talked about this in multiple shows before too, right? And I think
Yep,
that's the ongoing frustration that right now, when we boil it down to the business as an economic driver around the world and recruiting and hiring, which is what you and I are immersed in on a regular basis, that the it is it's nuts actually. In fact, remember that when was it just a year or two ago when the Lattice was saying
yes,
that
last
they
year.
they were W2ing AI employees,
Oh yeah,
which
and then you can give them reviews.
I
You can
know, and
review
they just
them.
got a lot of backlash about that. But I mean, and I mean, they did pull that back because of a lot of the backlash. But I think that this person that you're talking to and multiple people around the world is unfortunately the train has left the station, as the expression goes, because right now it is permeated out there in the jobosphere that everybody gets rejected by AI when it's just not true.
Yep,
And we've talked about this before, but this is but this continues to be perpetuated. And candidates, I think there's candidates that I don't think I could convince otherwise. I see it in the commentary that we get in our Candy Benchmark
yep,
research data. I'm not going to be able to convince them otherwise. This is something that is, and then yet we keep feeding that
yeah,
to that myth to them
right.
that this is the case. I mean, automation's always been the scapegoat, but now this is different. And we all need, this is why we're anthropomorphizing it more. Unfortunately, we're making this thing something that it's not again. You outlined it in your latest newsletter really well, right? That
Yeah,
it is again, like every decade you said, it's another tool. But I was talking to we were doing final kind of data reviews before we do final reporting for companies that have benchmarked with us, and I've been talking to all of them, and they're all trying to combat this misperception because they're not using AI, number one, for any regular selection at all. They're using it maybe in chatbots,
Yeah,
interview scheduling, other things where there definitely can be scalable benefits there, and there have been. I'm not going to deny that, but it's a tool again.
yeah.
It's not a person, but the reality of them, they're not using it for that. So they're trying to make sure on their career sites. One company told me that they have a pop-up now when you're actually in the process of applying that reminds you recruiters will be reviewing your applications and resumes.
Right.
Humans. I don't know if that's going to make much of a difference anymore because of the world that we're in. Because the big, I mean, the Googles and the Metas and even the Open AIs and all the other big tech companies, they want AI to be like in our mouths every day. They just want
Right.
us to be, but the whole and the I had read a recent article about in Fortune about that this is short-sighted that we're if we're laying all these people off and thinking that we're going to have create enough efficiencies with AI technologies, and in some levels we might be able to, that it's going to bite back at some point with
Well,
companies in 5 years from now that are going to go, wait, what? What did we just do? And now we don't have those people, and those people don't are working elsewhere now. I mean, I just feel like I feel like we're just with all these magical technology things that are happening, we're taking a wrong turn. I just
well,
feel
it's
that
more
way.
than
Maybe
that.
maybe it's just me. Is it my humanity fighting against the
A little
bot?
bit.
Is
A little bit, but I think there's some assumptions that are driving this that are not rooted in any sort of historical or factual data. For
Yeah,
example, that the AIs will infinitely get better, faster, smarter, right? As if there will be no plateau at
yeah,
any point in time. And I think that's a horrible misperception because if you look at technology in history, it always plateaus. We have hockey sticks and plateaus and hockey sticks and plateaus, but the AI charts that I see all are hockey sticks forever. Like this thing's going to do nothing but take over the world. And I think that's a very false negative about
yeah,
what it can possibly produce and bring to the table. So that scares me and that people are buying into that hype. The second is we are assuming AIs are perfect and they're going to make good decisions, which is kind of a funny thing because when you look at it, what you find is that they do error. They make errors. Why do they make errors? I have this really funny story. My first company I worked for was a company called Zoom Info,
yeah,
which many people are familiar with.
yep.
It was a baby company. We were all babies, and we had a web bot that was crawling the web and pulling information about people and creating people records with all the confidence in the world. It was doing such a good job. And we knew enough to know things like we should help the bot identify this is a corporate website, so it's good and reliable. This is how to tell it the corporate website. These are the markers of a corporate website.
Hmm.
This is a news site. This is news sites are reliable. These are the markers of a news site, and so forth and so on, right? This makes sense. And our bot, with all the confidence in the world, found this news site that it loved and it would visit it every hour for new information called The Onion. And it produced so much data for us that was confidently wrong. The data it was taking from looked good, looked right, felt good, it's confidently wrong, right? And there was no way for it to censor itself and go, hey, I found the onion, my bad. It's a satirical site. It didn't know, right? And without a human being like, something
Right.
here smells funny. No pun intended to the onion here. And looking into it and go, oh, whoops, that's not real news. Like, how do you teach a bot that it's fake news, right?
Yeah.
And that's where these things get hard. I think, I was mentioning you mentioned the newsletter that we just put out, but in that, really trying to dig into the fact that some of the things that the recruiting teams are going to do in the future, and this is specific to recruiting, how do you change a business culture without a person involved, right? Because I think you said it that AIs don't create, they imitate.
Yes.
So if you have a bad culture, are you just deploying an AI automation system to take that culture that's already not good and just continue it down the road
The
without
short
human
answer
intervention?
is yes. The short answer is
Right.
yes. Yes. And that's the thing that we again and it's something that I had already been thinking about, but then when I read this Fortune article, it really solidified for me that we it's all it's doing, it's imitating. It's imitating based on the data it's been fed and trained on,
Yeah.
which and it's not really creating, it's reinterpreting, imitating data. When we do a prompt with in a generative AI, right? We're asking it, it is going out and finding in a very fast way, looking at lots of information at once, and then again reinterpreting back to us what it thinks that we are asking for or what we should do. But again, it's not creating outright. It's the same thing with but this whole I think a distraction again of using AI to like do funny videos with that are creative. And don't get me wrong, with animals talking and looking
Right.
so it's fun. That's all fun stuff. But again, it's just still imitating. You're listening to the Talent Sync. Keep on sinking. With us, not really sync with us. Thank you. What do your candidates think of your recruiting process? The annual Candy Benchmark Research and Awards program helps you and your organization measure and understand your overall candidate experience ratings from pre-application to onboarding. Benchmark your candidate experience today. Go to surveil.com/candies, CANDES. It's reinterpreting things that already exist out there. It's not, but bringing it back to the issue of what's going to happen. We have always had reasons why we hire and why we downsize, right? There's always fluctuations in the market. There's always corrections. Sometimes, companies in 2021, tech companies especially, they hoarded a bunch of talent and then shed
Hmm.
them, and now are trying to harness them again in that very, very top echelon of AI developers and programmers. But the same thing for a lot of companies. There's this cycle, but it seems like it's now it's this. There's going to be more of a human backlash ultimately with that, if this belief that these streamlining AI technologies are going to replace the innovation that I had in these groups of people. I just it's not going to be there. If we ever get to what theorists are calling general intelligence and even beyond that, it's going to be way after I'm gone and dead. So, but right now, that's just not reality. And I think they're gonna pay the price for people, because right now that it is, if I'm a candidate and I want to work at Google and I keep getting rejected over and over again and had a bad experience, I may still want to work for Google. I mean, that may not change my perception of the brand itself, but this whole thing about the humans being replaced, I don't believe it's going to happen. I think we're going to see a a backlash in the years to come, and some companies will pay the price. Now, until we get this whole tariff economic dumpster fire in order
Mm.
globally, seriously though, until
Yeah.
we get that over, because nobody can plan. I mean, you've talked to companies that are
Yeah.
saying that they can't plan for hiring cycles right now. It's an absolute mess, and it's not serving anybody. Ultimately, it's not gonna bode well. But replacing humans with AI is just the narrative that the AI companies want us to believe
But
right now.
it's the clickbait, right? So
Yeah.
we talked about this last time too. Perplexity's CEO saying we're going to replace 30 or 50 or 80% of workers with AI. And the thing that I glommed onto with that particular article or that interview, when you kind of peel that onion back, you realize is that he's not defining what that means. We're going to replace recruiters. Well, what does that mean? Because there are absolutely roles that we are going to replace with technology, not AI necessarily, but just technology.
Yeah,
For example, interview scheduling was always done by a person. You're back and forth in email 75
of
times. It's a
course.
pain in the butt. No one likes it. In fact, literally no one likes it. And so replacing that with technology, and I don't think that's AI, by the way, that is just pulling calendars and giving somebody a choice. There's no
Right.
AI there. Thank you very much.
Well,
That's
right.
automation,
Right.
right?
And even
That,
right, and even some machine learning is not necessarily full AI either. So, I mean,
sure,
it's math. It's
good
math.
math. It's
It's
good
good
math.
math. Yeah.
But that, we've given that an AI identity recently, interview scheduling. It's not. It's automation. It's great. I'm not against it. And is it replacing people? Well, it's replacing time that people have been spent. And if you hired someone in your business, just whole job is to do interview scheduling, then probably we've replaced them. That is probably true. But I
Sure.
don't think that's replacing recruiters or recruiting, right? We are seeing more automation on actually early candidate outreach, which is being done by an AI to answer questions that are common about jobs or companies. Like that isn't necessarily replacing a person, but part of a person's job, and not necessarily a part of the person's job the person's excited about doing, which is kind of interesting, right?
Right.
Like making 50 phone calls a day to answer the same 12 questions
Yeah.
isn't anybody's idea of an exciting job. Although, like, I'm sure for a lot of people, they want a job right now, so that they would be willing to do that. And we could say, sure, that is replacing a potential worker with automation. But again, that's the same as saying that, having a key fob for your getting into your office is the same as replacing the security guard, right? And now we have the key fob is now an AI because it's doing the job a person was doing before.
Sure.
It's not, right? Like, and that's the thing that I think we are in a state right now where the clickbait headlines are dictating how people are talking about the AI, which then giving it a name, as we were talking about, giving it an identity, being a person's name that we would relate to, then takes that further in sort of making you think that the AI is taking your job, is going to do your job, because we've now given these things identities and
I
birth certificates. Like,
that's
what is that nonsense?
that's dumb. I don't even know what I don't I that's dumb. I think in your whole point about giving them names again with a lot of products that I'm actually have always been fans of it even in our space. I just giving them names was to make the I think the candidates themselves feel more potentially more comfortable with getting questions answered and getting the interview scheduled. I think that like we talked about at the beginning of this call, I think that is now it's going to go kind of sour for at least in the near term because of the the kind of the candidate outcry about AI taking their
Yeah.
jobs away and the whole Workday collective lawsuit that just got opened up further with the judge saying now he's asking Workday to give him all the employer names that used the tool in the past
Ooh,
3 years. Did you hear about that?
not yet.
Yeah, that's now whether that's going to be appealed to it to Infinitum. I don't know what's going to end up happening with that, but that was the next play in that which is kind of going to be a continual bee in Workday's bonnet. But the other day in the Facebook group, which I'm not even on Facebook that much anymore, but that in Hung Lee's recruiting brain food Facebook group, there's sometimes some really interesting posts in there, and there was this post about because the now a new thing, and I can't wait next year to ask the candidates about this because we don't do it this year. There's AI interviewers now, right? So
Yep.
and that which of course will have names and somebody had posted something, Bill Mormon, who I really respect and have for a long time, some Adecco research that said, well, 98% of candidates would prefer an AI interviewer to a human. And I just thought, I don't think that's right, actually. And I was trying to, because I don't. I think that's something's, I'd have to actually dig that nugget up and understand it a little bit more. I think that most candidates in MAR data want to talk to humans. That's who's going to screen and interview them. The tools, and I made the argument, if something is keeping me in the running,
Yeah.
whatever that is, and that includes technology. If I'm in the running still and I'm going to have to engage X, Y, or Z that are technology based things and steps, and fine. But ultimately, and this is why I want to ask candidates this next year in our research, ultimately, candidates want live in person or live virtual, but they want people.
Yeah.
They want to talk to the people they might be working with and for. I just can't believe that high of a percentage would opt for an AI screen interview. I just because candidates have always railed against one-way video interviews, by the way. That may be a good tool for the employers, but it's in our data and research it's been the least favorite screening for
I mean,
candidates.
having having done one before or tested a bunch of them before, the one-way interview is super weird as the
Yeah.
person. Now, I think the AI interviewer, again, it depends on how they ask the question, how many people, and who are those people that they asked. But, I think candidates want someone to engage. So I think, if you gave them a choice of would you rather have silence or talk to an AI, they might choose the AI if those are your two choices, because
Yeah.
silence is the worst option. I think to your point though, if they see the AI as a step in the process of going towards a hire, right? It's not there to screen them out, but to help them along. I think that they were probably more open to it. So again, that question
Yes.
probably matters. But I think screening candidates out with an AI is definitely dangerous road to toe if you are an employer of any size, because that can get you into some trouble if it
Yeah,
starts
well,
making
right.
bad
Well,
decisions.
obviously that's the case. Until there's more compliance guardrails in place, you always remind me of compliance. That's super important for companies. I mean, I get all that. I do think that as we kind of round out this discussion again, so two things I wanted to touch on before we wrap is that the whole I think at some point though, companies are going to have to figure out how to use AI related screening tools because of the sheer volume of people. We're gonna have to figure that out.
Yes.
And at some point, some way that there's compliance guardrails, there's better bias testing. I mean, all the things that have to be done, we're gonna have to figure that out because the volumes are just untenable for many companies. That's number one. But the other one is what you touched on, and I just because you let that cat out of the bag about why are all these AI bot names female?
Or predominantly, right?
Well,
They're over.
predominantly female. Yes,
Yeah.
I mean I would say 95+% female, right? I mean,
Yeah, I think I'm seeing more and more non human
which
names,
is
which
good.
is which
Well,
is
which is
good.
good. Yes, I agree with that.
A
Yes.
few gender agnostic names that you'll see come in and out, right? So every once in a while you'll see like an Alex or a Pat or something like that. But they are overwhelmingly women, and there's lots of interesting studies on this if anyone wants to go deep on it. It actually goes back, I think, as far as the 50s in the original like automated voices when you called and they were just like, thanks for calling company X to press one, press two. Those were always women's
Yeah.
voices. And so there's a whole database of women's voices. So there's as a baseline, the access is higher. But there's lots of studies around that people both like feel that women are more helpful, but also they feel more comfortable telling them what to do or ordering them around.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's a secondary thing that's sort of coming out around AI and women and people of color and AIs giving different advice to women that it would give to a man based on the way the question is asked.
Yeah.
And that it's encouraging women to ask for less money, people of color to ask for less money than it
Oh, I
would
did read about
otherwise.
that recently. Yeah.
That is super concerning, right?
Yeah,
That this
very concerning.
how
Yeah.
tightly wound all of this stuff is, and that it's not being really looked at, I think, in a way that um fast enough, right? I think we're going to have repercussions before we get our arms around it.
Which is why I have super concerns about AI interviewers, like actual avatar AI interviewers
Yep.
interviewing candidates. I completely agree with that. So because it is a misogynistic stereotype.
Yep.
What to your point about that, and again, which is another reason why, Leah, why this whole diatribe we've been in today and this episode is to stop anthropomorphizing
Right.
tech. Just stop doing it for maybe for the reasons that we thought would make it more accessible and for with job candidates, again, bringing it to recruiting and hiring world, maybe so, but
Yep.
I'm glad to see there's a movement away from that. Stop doing that, and for all the reasons that we just pointed out at the end of the day.
Yep.
Technology always, new technologies like this, historically, just like you were saying, every 10 years, we've seen it since the Industrial Revolution. There is always displacement. So we're not saying in this podcast that it's not replacing people, because there will be people that will lose their jobs because companies are trying to downsize, save
Right.
more revenue, and get more efficient with technology. That again will be some AI on the administrative side. Yes, that's true. But God, stop. Please stop. They're
Stop naming
just
them. Stop giving them avatars.
stop talking to them. I mean, listen, I understand, folks. You give me a call. Give me a call if you want to. If you're low, no, don't actually don't. I don't mean that. But I mean, talk to somebody else. But I don't know. You remember the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's where this is where I'm. The more I'm reading about people actually doing this, that's what's happening right now. And I don't know, good, bad, indifferent. Maybe that's going to be helpful for people to work through things, but I'm again, but
Yep.
that is not, you are not. So recruiting and recruiters, you've been squeezed, and then people in TA and HR, you've been
Well,
squeezed, but you're not. I mean, I'm telling you, in the next 5 years, the companies that go way too far the other way, they're going to be at a competitive disadvantage, I would argue, I think.
well,
So,
I think that the last takeaway on that is you're going to be squeezed for sure, but which people in each group get squeezed will have a lot to do with how far do you lean into being able to optimize technology, not just AI, but all of your tech. Are
yeah.
you using it? Are you creating efficiencies in your own world? Are you personally able to be hyper efficient and help the business scale? I think that's a big question for a lot of organizations.
Yep.
And or are you resistant? Are you the one fighting it? Because you will be replaced by fighting it, not by leaning
Yeah,
in, figuring out. Like I
that's
can
true.
say I don't like it and I can think all the things that I think, but at the end of the day, you, me, and everyone else, we are leaning towards it. I put my fingers on it every day to make sure I continue to look at different tools out in the market. What are they doing? How are they
Sure.
helpful? Right? Like the I don't know if anybody plays with any of the vibe coding. It's super cool. It has its limitations. It's important to understand those. But like that kind of stuff is going to continue to be more and more important in everyone's business. But if you're fighting it entirely, that's probably not going to work out for you
No,
either.
and there's been many pundits in our space too that have had shared the same sentiment that we are going to need to, just like actually with anything, we need to embrace it. How we use it will help with our own longevity in the
Yep.
workforce as well. So maybe I need to push the try the agent button, but only call it Agent X.
Yes.
Just Agent X. Is
Yes.
that going to work?
Sure. I mean, it's like Agent Smith, but
No,
in the
no
Matrix, but
name.
without the Smith
Well,
part.
no, yeah, don't name. And I don't want Smith because he was a bad guy. So
He was definitely a bad guy.
I don't want him to come get me.
Morpheus.
Oh
Oh,
God.
Morpheus.
Well, Leah, it's always a pleasure to get talent synced with you again, and hope everybody has been enjoying our ramblings that I think are important right now in our space. I think these are conversations that we're all having, and we have to continue to have them because it's I think we're constantly being impacted by everything that's changing. So always a pleasure.
Likewise.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye now.
Okay. Thank you for listening to the Talent Sync podcast, a Surveil Candy and Job Sync collaboration. More episodes soon. Subscribe to our podcast via your favorite podcast player today.